Hello, hello, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our episode of Just Learn It. And today we're going to talk about how to do graphic design. If you guys know anybody who wants to start working from home, either as a graphic designer or anything else for that matter, please hit that share button, share this video with them so that they can learn more about working from home, so they can learn more about becoming a graphic designer. And if you have any questions for me, please let me know in the comments below. So that I'll answer them after we talk about this whole graphic design thing. Today, like I said, we're talking about how to do graphic design. How to do graphic design. First of all, let's answer this question. What is graphic design? Well, from the term, of course, design, but it's the graphic part. So this takes care of what we call the visual elements. The visual elements, the things that you see. And this is very broad. This is when you design the visual elements, is very broad. It can range from different kinds of things, from like logos. That's a very common graphic design. It's where a lot of graphic designers start. Website elements. Website elements like the buttons, the buttons that say buy now or click here, or the images that you create on banners and so on. It could also be used for different kinds of images, and especially in things like social media, like the Facebook images that we have, like the cover photo for our Facebook group. We have a graphic designer do that for our Facebook page. We have Enteng, who's our graphic designer, does that as well. So these are the kind of things a graphic designer does. A graphic designer, when we talk about illustration artists, and these usually overlap sometimes, they do drawings. Like Eric Toons, the guy who makes cartoons. If you look him up, Eric Toons, he does drawings. He makes cartoons, obviously. There's also things like book covers, things like brochures, banners, like physical banners that get printed, branding strategy, and so much more. There's so many things covered in what we call graphic design. But one thing a lot of designers do is they only focus on one specific area. Like we have graphic designers for logos, we have graphic designers for book covers, we have graphic designers for social media. So while they can do a number of these different things here, they only focus on one specific area. And that's where they specialize in. Okay, so this is what's covered in graphic design. And the big part here, the big part can also be branding strategy. This is when you look at a company and you come up with a strategy for their entire company, for their entire brand. Okay, so now that we kind of know what's involved in graphic design and what it is, let's see, what does a graphic designer do? What does a graphic designer do? So now, when you're dealing with a company, okay, you're dealing with a client, okay, you deal with a client. And by the way, I'm not a graphic designer myself. I've worked with a lot of graphic designers, and I know some basics of graphic design. I've done web design, which is a little bit related, but just letting you know. So a graphic designer, they talk to a company, they talk to a client, and the client will give them what they specific needs. Okay, so they would say, okay, I want something that is modern. I want something that's fresh. I want something that makes people think of fruits. I don't know if there may be a, this is a, what is this? A market. Okay, so I want something modern. I want something fresh. I want something that people think. I want something that will make people buy because they sell fruits online. So what a graphic designer does is he starts thinking. Okay, he starts thinking. Okay, what kind of colors? What kind of fonts? What kind of look? What kind of images? What can I make that encompasses all of these parts all of these requirements of the company. And from these words, from these requirements, the graphic designer will come up with, let's say, like a logo. I know this is an ugly looking logo, but let's say that's their logo. And that's what the graphic designer does. So it's not just, graphic design is not just it's both a skill and an art. It's both a science and an art. You don't just do picture editing, but for most, if you want to succeed as a graphic designer, it has to be both an art for you and a science, something you study and something that you just have the skill for. Okay, so let's go ahead and ask this question. Why is it important? Why is it important for companies? Why do companies hire graphic designers? Well, let's think of the big brands. Okay, let's think of some really big companies out there. Let's think of Nike, right? When you see the check mark, we know Nike. Let's see if you can guess this one. My drawing is horrible, but let's see if you can guess what logo that is. It looks like an alien, but let me know what you think it is. Let's see how and then we have, okay, there we go. And another logo. Let's have some audience interaction here. These are horrible, but let's see if you can guess what these logos are. Okay, so we have this one. We have, well, we know what the first one is. I told you what that one is. And we have this one. It should be kind of like that. All right. Yes, we have, this is Apple. Guess what? And there are writings here. Okay, so we can, my drawing is really bad, so I'm not sure if you're going to get this one. This is a lady. She has long hair. Okay, there we go. And it's green. Okay, it's green. Okay, we have Windows. We have Apple. Let's see if you guys can guess what this one is. Microsoft. We have Apple. And this one's a pretty popular coffee brand internationally. I just couldn't draw so there's a face here and it's long hair. Now it looks like a clown. And it's green, it's a coffee brand. It's Starbucks, yes. So this is the Starbucks logo for those of you. Obviously, I didn't draw the Starbucks logo. I haven't had any practice before this session, but yes, it is the Starbucks logo. But anyway, why am I discussing this with you guys? Because graphic design is very important for these big companies. Their success is tied with their logo. When they see the logo, like the check mark, you know, it's Nike, just do it, right? And of course you have the Jordans. Never mind, I'm not gonna try. You have the Jordans, the guy, you know, Michael Jordan doing the dunk. We know what it is. We know what Apple, we know Windows, we know Starbucks. These are all, when we see the logo, we know what brands these are, and their success has to do with their design. And you know, these are big companies, but the same thing happens with small companies, right? When you look at, even when you look at work from home roadmap, you see our logo, you see the kind of map there. You know, it's our logo. You know that that's WFHR. Even for small companies, the branding is very important, giving that specific feel, giving that having those elements like we talked about earlier with the market, you know, fresh, buy, fruits, having that in a logo, having that in the images, having that on a website, having that on the entire feel, on brochures, on banners, on logos, on websites and everything. That is very, very important, especially like in social media nowadays. So graphic designers are very important for both big companies and small companies. So now let's take a look at what skills are required. If you want to become a graphic designer, what skills are required for graphic design? Okay, so you have to understand the client. You have to understand their needs. You have to understand their business. And this is when business knowledge comes in, because a lot of people think that graphic design is all about, you know, being artistic, right? A lot of people think it's just about being artistic, where in fact it involves understanding a client's business needs, understanding what would resonate with a market, right? So it's not just being, having good skills with drawing and so on. Also, business needs and branding. This is also important. Understanding what kind of brand a company would want to show. So that is a very important skill. Another important skill is, of course, your artistic sense. And this is why I'm not a very good graphic designer, because I can make basic graphic designs. I know how to use the software. I know how to do them, but in the artistic way, I don't really have that art. That's not part of me. And some people have it, some people don't. You can try to learn it, and it will take a lot of work if you don't have it by default. But for some people, they are very artistic to begin with, and it's very easy for them to move into graphic design. They have to understand the business, they have to understand branding, but they already have the artistic sense, which is very important for a graphic designer. Okay. Some other skills: you need to know some software. You need to know things like Photoshop and Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. These are the top two tools that every graphic designer must know. Maybe if you're like a virtual assistant who's doing a little bit of graphic design, you can use something like Canva. You can use Stencil, which are some apps that can help you out. But if you're a serious graphic designer, if you're doing this really for your really as a career, as a profession, then you have to really learn Photoshop and Illustrator. These are the must know softwares for every single graphic designer. Okay, let's take a look at the different tools. What are the different tools that a graphic designer should have? Of course, we talked about Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator. This is PS, Photoshop, and AI stands for Adobe Illustrator. Those are very important tools for graphic designers. They should have some stock photos. And these are the photos that you can use on websites, on brochures, and so on. So you should have on social media and as well. So stock photos are important. You should have a stock photo account, like something from Pixabay. There are free ones like from Pixabay, and there are paid ones from iStock Photo and so on. Another good tool is a drawing tablet. There are a lot of drawing tablets out there, and you can plug them to your computer and you can draw with like a pen or a pencil. They can cost, if you're looking at pesos, they can cost like between, I think the cheapest you can get is around 4,000, 5,000 pesos. And then you can go for the expensive ones, which cost all the way like 20,000 pesos. Right now I'm using an iPad to draw because I also use an iPad for other things, not just for drawing. But a drawing tablet is a very important tool you should have if you're exploring the more of the Illustrator area. Okay, so let's take a look and see, why should people do graphic design? Why do graphic design? Why should people do graphic design? Well, for a lot of people, it's fun. If you have fun and if this is like your passion, then graphic design, if art and graphics are your passion, then graphic design may be a really great place for you. If you don't have fun with graphics, some people absolutely hate drawing and hate designing things. I like drawing, but drawing doesn't like me, so I can't really be a graphic designer. But if you don't enjoy it, then it's going to be very hard for you to succeed with graphic design as your profession. Yes, the Wacom pens, those are very popular pens. Wacom I think it's the leading company right now when it comes to drawing tablets and drawing pens. Okay, and like I was saying, you should have fun. There should be something that you enjoy, and it can pay well if you're good. Pay well, just like anything else. If you're good at this, it can pay you really well. I know there's a guy in Bacolod who does the illustrations. He's more of an illustrationist, which still kind of falls under graphic design. He's an illustrationist for Wizards of the Coast, which designs the Magic the Gathering card game, and Fantasy Flight games. So he gets paid around $35 an hour to do drawings, and he draws every single day. So there's a guy in Bacolod who does that. So if you guys have seen those magic cards, one of the artists, they have a lot of artists. One of the artists is a Filipino guy over in Bacolod. But yes, it can pay well if you're a good designer, if you're a good illustrationist, it can pay extremely well. So why should you not do graphic design? Why not do graphic design? Well, some people just are not good at it. You know, if you don't have the skill and if you don't have the passion in this area, then these are two reasons why you shouldn't do graphic design. If you have the passion and you don't really have the skill, but you have time to really learn and to really study, then it can become an area where you may enjoy, you know, and you might get good at it. But skill and passion are very important in this area more than others. It's more of a skill that you just have compared to some other skills out there. Now, we don't have a course on graphic design over in WFHR, but if you want to learn more about working from home, head over to our freevacourse.com. Like if maybe you figure out, you know, I don't want to become a graphic designer, I'm not very good at drawing, somebody like me, or if you want to learn more about working from home, you can head over to freevacourse.com to learn more about how to get started working from home. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And once again, if you found this valuable at all, if you found this session valuable, please hit the share button. Share this with your family and friends so they can learn about more about working from home. They can learn more about things like graphic design. Branding and logo creates retention of a brand. Yeah, that's right, Relj. Branding, retention, and logo, they create the retention of the brand. It helps people remember. Like, even though I couldn't draw the Starbucks logo, I still kind of know how it looks like. And of course, that like the Nike logo, we still know how they look like. They stay in our minds. Charo, if you only have a skill using Canva, can you tell the client that you are a graphic designer? Are there other tools and apps you need to learn to fully call yourself a graphic designer? If you only know Canva, I don't think you're qualified to call yourself a graphic designer, because the expectation with clients usually is that you at least know Photoshop. At the very minimum, you at least know Photoshop. And if you are good, then you also know how to use Illustrator and draw, not necessarily with a tablet, but you still know how to use Illustrator. Charo, if you want to excel in this area, then please learn Photoshop. That's the number one thing. Yeah, a lot of clients would ask you to create a logo from scratch. So Illustrator would be your number one tool for that. So learn Photoshop and then learn Illustrator. You can learn both at the same time. They cover different areas. Ingrid, almost anyone can use Canva, but it's the output that matters. Yes, almost anyone can use Canva. And like I said, if you're a virtual assistant who wants to offer some additional design services, that's okay to just use Canva. No problem at all. If you're just designing, if you're just putting one image on top of another and so on, Canva is great. But if you want to if you're going to change your title, like in the different freelance platforms, if you're going to change your title to graphic designer, then at least know Photoshop and Illustrator will be important. Yes, tablets are important. Canva is not so artist friendly. Live Great, I guess you've tried that. Huyon Wacom for the pen and the tablet. Oh, there's a 4K tablet. Ooh, that must be expensive. Those are the ones that like cost like, oh, the cheapest is 2,800. Thank you, June, for correcting me there. There's a Wacom pen and touch tablet, 5,890. So that's a good price. Like if you're interested in graphic design, maybe you just want to practice, maybe you just want to have fun. The cheapest tablet you can get, according to June, is the Wacom 5,890, 2,800 pesos. That's a very good price if you're starting out. And then if you get more professional, you can get the more expensive ones. Roland, should a graphic designer always consider to buy their software in a legit way? my personal belief, it really is up to you, but my personal belief is if you're making money using a tool, then you should pay, you should get it legit, right? Maybe like, I also think like it's karma, if you're using a tool to make money, and you're stealing the tool, then maybe you're gonna get karma. But if you're making money, like if you're a graphic designer, you make money making logos, you should sign up for Adobe Cloud or have purchased Adobe Photoshop Illustrator, which is expensive, yes, but that's really how it is. Personally, I use a Photoshop competitor. Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer are what I use instead of Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. And they're a lot cheaper. You can get them for like $50 each. And Photoshop is several $100s, so it's a lot cheaper. And I like using it. So yeah, Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer. Harvey Lanot, is this the Magic the Gathering artist? It might be him. Okay, good morning. Thank you for sharing. Yes, please share this if you found this helpful. If you want to learn more about if you want to share, if you want to share with others more about working from home, or becoming a graphic designer, please share this with them. Should share this video so they can understand my work and my job. That's right, Raymond. If you're a graphic designer, share this with your friends so that they really understand. Because when you tell people that you do graphic design, a lot of people don't understand. I was in a family reunion a couple of days, a few days ago, last week, and when I said I do websites, I just, to make it easy, I just said I create websites, and they asked me, oh, so do I know like robotics? Do I know? It's like, no, it's not. That's not what I do. It has nothing to do with what I do. Anyway, yes, Live Great. Do you recommend buying font products? There are some great free and paid fonts out there. A lot of free fonts. If you look at the Google fonts, there are a lot of free fonts. If you look at, so there are a lot of great Adobe fonts as well, but sometimes you do have to get some paid fonts if you can't find anything with the free ones. But I'd say look at the free ones first, and if your needs can't be fulfilled with the free ones, then go for some paid fonts, because there are some really great paid fonts as well. So if you only have passion but no skills for graphic design, it's not recommended. Well, you can still make it, Jan Marie. You can still make it, but you're at a disadvantage compared to those that are really artistic. You may be able to eventually learn the skills, but my recommendation is to check something else out. But if this is going to make you happy, even though maybe you, as somebody who just has it more as a passion, maybe you can earn, let's say, I'm just throwing a number out there, let's say you earn 30,000 pesos a month maximum. And if you're happy with that, or let's say 50,000, if you're happy with that, then that's okay. Maybe you can just do it. But if you want to earn more money, then you might want to look in another field that's more in line with your skills. Melissa, good morning as well. Ingrid, Crello. Oh, I haven't heard of Crello yet. It's similar to Canva. I used Stencil lately. If it's similar to Canva, it should be free. I hope it's free. Is there a short course in school where I can learn basic graphic web design? That's a good question. There are a lot of courses out there for you to learn about drawing. If you go to places like Lynda, places like Udemy, there are a lot of great graphic design courses out there. It's unfortunately, I'm not qualified to teach graphic design. John Michael Sabay, you can learn skills for it, but passion for it, you can't. Trust yourself, you can learn it. Okay. So John Michael, it seems like he's a graphic designer. You might want to get in touch with him. Well, I see his cover photo. That looks nice. Adobe Typekit. Yep, you can sync your fonts with Adobe Typekit. Both, they have some paid ones and they have some free ones, if I'm not mistaken. Trello is free. What's cool about that is they have animated posts that you can tweak. I'll check them out. I haven't heard of it. Trello and Adobe Spark. Yes, I've heard of Adobe Spark. It is free and it is better than Canva. I'm on Stencil because I have a lifetime paid access with them, so I'm with Stencil. All right, all right. We have some great discussions going on here, and yep, it looks like we don't have any additional questions. Well, thank you guys for staying on. Thank you for saying hi on this inaugural episode of Just Learn It. Once again, please share this with your family and friends, and otherwise, I will talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.